You'll have to put up with me for about 40 minutes, but I figure after 12 years putting up with me, 40 minutes is not going to hurt you too much. There's no place that I would rather be tonight than sitting here and singing you these songs. Strumming on this old guitar, I hope it's sounding right. Your faces tell me here's where I belong. So clap your hands, stomp your feet, sing along with me. We'll chase our cares and worries out the door. We'll yodel, sing, and everything as happy as can be. Times like this, who could ask for more? I get into my car and drive to come and sing for you. That's the way I try to do my part. You never seem to mind if I forget a word or two.
Well,
just know
everybody,
that I am
welcome to In the Neighbourhood, Tuesday, June 23rd, or as we like to call it, our 69th show. How about that? 69 of these things. And I was walking with John this morning, and I was telling him that means we've gone for walks, probably 75 walks, him and I have, in the morning. So that's got to be worth something. If you're in the Calgary area, quick weather updates, warm day today, but there's a lot of bugs out there. And you're going to go through a lot of bug bite and a lot of Band-Aids, and the kids are still going to pick them off. So you're ready for it. That's our weather. Traffic update. Let me tell you what's going on in the world of traffic, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. There's fewer cars than other days, but still enough to probably make you angry at some intersection. So that's the traffic. That's weather. That's traffic. In the news today, there's a virus. There's political leaders who are doing good jobs and other political leaders who are not doing good jobs. And the virus is doing its job. And in the world of in the business news today, our business update is, well, there's not as much as there used to be. And why is that amusing? If you're sitting at home going, I don't see why that's funny. I know the feeling. But you know, folks, we can't all be living large like I am, doing a show out of my basement. Oh, man. It's so good to hang out with you. So thank you for tuning in, being part of it. All of my friends and regulars who are out there, hello to all of you. And special hi to Amy, who's typing away on the social medias while I talk. She's thinking, when is he going to say something worth typing about? Do people say typing? Like, do people call it typing? I don't think, like, when you do stuff on your computer, do you say I'm typing on the computer? Because John says typing, my son, but he only says it because I do, and I think I'm just teaching him to be old. He also says, let's get the horse and buggy out of the barn. No, he doesn't. Not true. Hey, it's phone dad time here on our show after the news break that we all went through. And so we're going to talk to Dad. And I thought today, I'll set this up a little bit. I thought today I would call him and just have him tell me a story because it'd be just fun to see how he's doing. Anyway, I'll phone him. And this is, some of you know this story, but it's a classic and it's one of my favorites. It's the day Dad first tried chewing gum. Can you believe that? You know, for those of us that think life is different than that, I'll tell you right now, what's interesting is chewing gum is a big deal when you're a kid, and especially if you're a kid in whenever Dad was a kid. So a while ago. So we'll give him a ring, see if we can catch him. Usually I get his voicemail first, but we'll see how this one goes. Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dad. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm well. Where are you right now? What are you doing?
I'm sitting in the rocking chair with a big glass of water. I just got back from my walk. So I'm just relaxing a little bit.
What's on tap for the week? You got a lot going on?
Oh, do I ever have a pile going on. Today I have to finish polishing the numbers on I have the numbers of the house on the mailbox, and I took them off last night and I started polishing them.
Yeah.
They're brass, kind of. So I got that to do, and then I got a dentist appointment at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm telling you, I'm just a going concern.
There's no stopping you.
I'm telling you, boy.
I don't know if I can keep up, Dad.
Probably.
Now, did you think about when you were my age, Dad? Did you think about 80s? Like, did you think what you wanted to be doing or what your life would look like?
No idea. Well, when I was your age, of course, I was plastering then, and I had the trade, so it was not a question. I mean, I just keep going day after day, and that's what it was,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just when I was a kid, of course, it was completely different because you just didn't know what you were going to do. There wasn't television to tell you all these different jobs, or there wasn't. You knew there were school teachers and the parish priest, and that's the only two people you knew that I guess had any education or whatever. So certainly I wasn't interested in either of them, especially school teaching anyway. I couldn't kind of bogged down after I was there for a few years. But, yeah. So I have no idea what's around the corner. Yeah.
Somebody said that to me once. That as much as you predict the future, no one even knows what's going to happen in 10 minutes, let alone
exactly
10 years. So who knows?
Yeah. And it's a funny thing now. It's it's hard for me now to for years and years you look ahead and seeing what job is coming up or whatever you want to do, and now I'm walking home this morning or out for my walk, and you just kind of memories, it's all back, I mean, you have nothing really planned, and so you just kind of take it a day at a time. So
were you but when you're on your walk today, did you get excited thinking about like the brass things you're going to polish?
Well, not excited, but you just polish and just do. I'm fussy, and so I just polish to the best I possibly can. Now I wouldn't do a half job, and so yeah.
Now
anyway,
I was talking to John and Tess about some of your stories. They were asking me about the time Phil and I broke the bunk bed in half. So that's a story I was telling them today. But they were also asking about things that you talk about. And I was telling them about the story of chewing gum, but I don't quite know I've heard it a bit, but it's your Ben story. Can you tell me that one again so I can tell them?
Yeah, well, Ben was in England. They call him that time. I think maybe, and still they would call him a homeboy. He came from England, and he lived from England with a bunch of other, I'm sure, orphans and stuff. They went to St. George's Orphanage in Ottawa, and my grandfather, who was married in 1884. A couple of years after he's married, probably 1885 or 86 or something like that, he went to the St. George's home to get a homeboy to come and help him clear land up the Gatineau. He just had a farm. He was starting a farm, and so he got Ben. And Ben was around there with Grandpa for years, and then, well, they kind of coming and going because if Grandpa didn't have work for him, he would work for other farmers around. And so everybody kind of knew him as being a good worker, I guess. But there was a kind of a strike against him. The big one was that he was from England, and he was working for people there from Ireland who weren't very fussy about Englishmen. As a matter of fact, they were very prejudiced against Englishmen. And so just because of the history of England and Ireland in the 1800s.
Right.
And so, lots of times he wasn't treated very well. And lots of times he was just spoke of only as the immigrant. Not even, wouldn't even call him his name, just call him the immigrant. But Ben was kind of in a hard situation, raised really, I suppose. I don't know. I wish he was here that I could ask him, but maybe kind of raised on the street, in England, or just starved out of there. And so he didn't have much of a fight. I mean, he just kind of went along with. I'm thinking back, you know. I only remember Ben as an old man in the 70s and crippled up with Parkinson's disease. I remember seeing him trying to fill his pipe with his shaking hands, you know, and he would just, his hands are, you know, the way they get when they're Parkinson's, and he's just trying to fill his pipe, and I'd be sitting there with him, and I really liked Ben. He was my godfather, and he was just such a nice old man. He didn't do much work when I was young because he was past his working days. But he was very gentle, and I often thought, you know, I guess in a little boy's mind, I always thought I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, but I always thought he kind of liked me best. And I think maybe that's a kind of a dreaming of a little boy, you know. But one time you were talking about the gum. Well, Pat and I, my brother, was playing out in the yard, and Ben was around, you know, and he went into the woodshed, and he called me into the woodshed, and he reached up on the shelf, and he took down a stick of gum. I'd never seen gum before. And so I was unwrapping the gum, and he said, "Now, Bobby, you just chew that. You don't swallow it. Just chew it." And so I unwrapped it and started chewing it. I couldn't believe it had been so good.
Really?
Man, oh man, just amazing. I would just chewed it and chewed it for everything I had. It was just so good. And so back out to where Pat was, and I was kind of telling him about it, so I gave it to him, and he chewed it for a while. And he also said, you know, just such an amazing thing. And so I asked him after a couple of days when the gum was completely wore out, there was nothing left of it. I asked Ben, I said, "Where did you get that gum?" "Oh," he said, "I got that on that spruce tree out there in the pasture." And so, and I kind of laughed about it a little bit, you know, because he was just such a wonderful man, you know.
Yeah.
And so Pat and I went out after, we took a butcher knife or whatever, went out, and we scraped off that tree, this and that and everything, but nothing was like juicy fruit. Yeah. Well, Ben was wonderful. And, you know, I think about that now. Well, now I'm older than Ben was back then, but thank God I'm in good health compared to him. And you have to think, I mean, rough times, you know, sleeping in, maybe lots of times, maybe in the barn or something, or no heat, no nothing, you know, and then, anyway, I often think he's struggling now in his 70s, and he's got Parkinson's disease, and he never notices a little 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy watching everything he does, and he's just struggling to make a living. And so I learned lessons from him that I can use today, and that is that you just never know who's watching you. And so a crossword can just hurt a little boy so hard, especially from a stranger. Like a parent can say something to a boy, and he's correcting him, and you lose your temper. What else is new? I mean, we're all human. But an old man like that, if he was to say a harsh word, it would cut you to the core, you know, a little boy. And so he was just so kind and so good to me. And I think now I have a responsibility as an old man, if you want to say that, of being something that hopefully other kids can look up to. And I don't mean that by showing off. I mean, I'm polishing the mailbox numbers, and I'm trying to do the best I can. And some little fella might say, "Well, remember back," and said he was fussy and he did a good job of that. I'm doing a job, and I better do a good job. So I think it kind of goes on. But anyway, that's sort of my memories of Ben. You know, I think about. Yeah, you learn lots of lessons, and you learn lessons from people who have patience. You don't learn anything from people who are impatient and anxious. And Ben at 76, God bless him, he was not anxious about anything. He was just trying to survive, you know. Yeah, with no family, no nothing,
Was he bitter? Like, it sounds like he wasn't. At least around you, he
No,
wasn't.
I could not see it. Now, thinking back, I could not see he was bitter. No, I think he accepted things in. He was a very down deep. Apparently, talking to my aunt and thing, he was down deep. He was a very spiritual, religious man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that would he helped for his, his kindness and his real. He was just at peace. I think he was at peace with God and at peace with. He had, I'm sure, bitter memories of where he was treated, but at the same time, I'm sure he had peace of mind. And I think that now.
Right.
Yeah, just a wonderful man. It's something I just. Now I look forward. I look back and say, if he was patient with me, it's my responsibility to pass it on, be patient with other people, and to be hopefully somebody that they can learn something from. I don't know. You never know.
Right.
He just certainly wasn't aware, and I'm not aware. I mean, that's something you don't know. So
we were talking on the show. Russ, the guitar player in the band, and he was talking the other day about a teacher who he was like, they were doing a show somewhere and they were in the parking lot, and the teacher said, you're good at this, you could do something with it. And Russ talks about that moment as such an influence when an older person says to a young kid, you know what, you got some. It's such a powerful thing, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. The one memory I have is, as you know, I struggled with school it was a big thing. We were back in the bush and we never got teachers half the time. But I remember one time, and I don't even remember the situation. I don't remember nothing, but I remember the sister that taught me in school, and she was very good, but she said, Robert, if there's one thing, don't ever lose your sense of humor. And that's the only thing I ever remember learning in school. but I think since, when things would really be bad, you're working as an apprentice and you're not making any money and you don't know how to mix the plaster and everything's a schmozzle. And I could kind of laugh about it, And I think that was a good thing that I had that kind of in my pocket, that I was raised. I mean, it's a natural thing with me. I think I'm not a pessimist.
Yeah.
Down deep, I'm not a pessimist. And I think it's a good thing. That's the one thing I remember her telling me. And I think Russ is right. That you do remember little things like that. And yeah, I didn't have a clue what sense of humor was, but whatever it was, I didn't want to lose it anyway. Dear.
It's so good.
I can't imagine life been better. It's wonderful. Life has been so good.
When did that hit you, do you think? Did it always, or does it, because it seems to me you've noticed it more now, but maybe you've had more time to think?
Yes, exactly. You do think more, and you're not, your mind isn't cluttered with work stuff and, or whatever, not cluttered, but not busy with just trying to plan this and trying to plan that, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to do all these different things. And there's still problems. You never get, I get up in the morning, my shoulders and everything is just, it takes me a while to get going. You'd never dream that would ever happen. I mean, before you jump out of bed and away you go. But all it is just changes, all these different things over the years,
I thought of you yesterday. I was going out to shoot. We were going to go do a shoot, and I had these little ear pods for my ear, the little like headphone things. And I was running around, and I hit my hand on the table as I was racing, trying to get out. And the thing flew out of my hand and burst open, and ear pods bouncing everywhere. And all I could think of is Dad saying, when you rush, there's mud on the floor. Or what is that? You can't.
Yeah, you have to take your time, and
Yeah.
That is me. Just slow down.
Yeah.
Not very easy. It's hard to do. And you can't slow down all the time. I've worked with people who didn't know how it was not to slow down. Man, oh man. You think you got to get something done here, you know? So, yeah, there's a happy medium.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're going to next week, starting on Friday, we're going to take a hiatus so people can take their holidays and stuff in the summer and take a break. But we were just realizing by Friday, Dad, we'll have done over 70 of these shows. 70.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Is that right? So you do them every day, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the other 4 are just a warm up for Tuesdays, but be that as it may.
Oh, is that right, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I hope it goes good for you. And you can't just sit around and say, well, I hope things change. You just get out there and do something and mix some mud and get after it.
That's exactly. Yeah. That's Mandy's mom likes to hear that, so that's good. Well, look, Dad, it's
you just keep Mandy in mind and tell her if she needs that wall finished, let me know.
Okay. Oh, you're a good man, Dad, and happy Father's Day again, and
thank you.
We'll talk some more.
Okay.
Bye,
bye,
Dad.
Bye, everybody.
Okay,
bye.
See ya. How about that? Come on. Oh, that. I don't know why, but the stories when Dad's a little boy just get me every time. I just can picture him growing up on a farm full of people, him wetting the bed. He didn't tell me he did that till later in life, but him trying, and like there's 4 of them all in the same bed, and then living with a dad who maybe wasn't crazy about being a farmer. And if there's anything Dad wasn't, it was he's not a farmer. So this little boy just trying to find his way. And then Ben shows up, this nice old man, says, how about a stick of gum? It's amazing. And people are watching, right? People are watching what we say, and people are watching what we do. And that's why I say don't watch. Oh, man. So tomorrow, Julie Van Rosendahl, this is going to be Julie's last Wednesday for a little while anyway, so we're going to be chatting with her. And then on Friday, we're going to have a big happy hour blowout. And we're going to try to get some old guests on the show and see what people are up to and say hello and just see how we're doing. And then we're going to take a little bit of a breather and let people hang out and be with their family. But we'll be around. We'll be around. I'm not going far. Anything else we need to say? Any announcements? Do you guys need another weather update? From what I can see, it's daytime. So that's something to consider. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're not feeling alone, and if you are, we're here and we'll be back tomorrow, and hang in there. We'll be around. See you tomorrow.
My mind, my life is wild and free.